Hello everyone. It's been a while since I've done any videos. I've been waiting for some products to arrive that I was planning to use in videos, but they have not arrived. And even though at the moment my nails are looking a bit worse for wear, they are quite short and some of them are a bit uneven, I cannot wait any longer to do some sort of nail thing. Today I am going to show you how to make custom nude gel polish, because it can be quite hard to find the perfect nude for your hands. Also, if you do clients, it's even harder to have on hand every single nude that a client could possibly want. So mixing custom nudes is something that I think comes in quite handy. You can, of course, start with your favorite nude and then lighten or darken it to match your client or yourself. But for me, I still haven't found the perfect nude, and a lot of the nudes that I have are more sheer and I want something a little bit more opaque. The great thing about making your own custom nudes is you can make it completely custom and you can make it to match anything you want. If you want a slightly lighter nude or a slightly darker nude or a more warm toned and more cool toned, you can make whatever you like and you can make it to match anybody that you need it to match. Because if you had a nude for every customer that could possibly come in, you would have a lot of nudes. You need to have like a sheer version, an opaque version of every single skin tone, and that's a lot of polishes. So I think it is really good to know how to mix a custom nude. Obviously it's still really good to have a range of nudes in your collection so that you don't have to mix a custom nude every time, but mixing a custom nude really just takes it to the next level to make sure that it really matches your skin tone. So you can obviously take a nude that you already have and add colors to it to make it custom, but I'm going to show you how to make it from scratch. Essentially, you can make any color gel polish that you need with the primary colors and black and white. Unfortunately, I don't have a perfect yellow, so I've got these two here. One is quite pale and one is neon. I'm thinking that the pastel one will work for me today, but I really need to find a perfect yellow. Also, ideally, you would be using the same brand if you're going to be mixing the colours today, but unfortunately I only have white in Luxio at the moment, so I'm going to have to use that from a different brand. Other than that, we're going to get started. So I've got red, yellow, blue, and then I've got black and white gel polishes as well. I'm going to mix a few different shades of nudes today, hopefully one that matches my skin tone. We'll see how good I am at matching my own skin tone, and then some darker ones. I don't think we can go any lighter because I am pretty pale. I will link all the polishes that I'm using today in the description box, and also this little acrylic mixing palette. I got this from AliExpress. I'm going to start by making a nude that matches my skin tone, and then we'll work from there on deeper skin tones. So because I am very pale, if you can't tell, I swear these lights make me look even paler than I am. I'm going to start with white base. Now this white is quite cool toned, so you need to keep that in mind when mixing colors. I want to add just a tiny bit of red. So you will want to start by using a small amount of color, because if you add too much then you start to have to add the white back in, and then you just end up with a load of gel polish. And I am only going to be using this on one nail today, so I don't need a whole lot. So I've just got like a dotting tool's worth, a small dotting tool's worth of red gel paint. My apologies if you can hear my cat in the background. She seems to be eating something weird. She's trying to eat the Velcro. So you can see there that that was too much red. So I'm going to add a bit more white and then make sure that when I add in my yellow that I'm not adding too much. If you wanted to make a more sheer nude, you would just add in a bit of clear base coat or top coat just to sheer it out a little bit. Right, that's nice, and well, it's a lot paler than it was. So I'm now going to add in a little bit of yellow. I'm going to use the pastel yellow because I don't want it to be peach. I want it to be a pinky peach, more on the pink rather than the peach. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that. That's even less than I did of the red. Now because this is a pastel colour, it looks like I'm going to need to add a bit more of that in. So I've actually taken quite a generous amount. I'm going to mix that through. It is starting to look a little bit more skin toned, and we're still obviously not yellow enough, so I'm going to add in some more. I might even just drop some in. Oh god, I think that was far too much yellow. Now it looks like a weird egg. Actually, I think that might have been a good amount of yellow. That's actually looking like quite a nice nude colour. It's quite good, but I think I want to add just a tiny bit more yellow. It is hard because obviously the gel color is just going to be one flat color when your actual skin has multiple skin tones. You can see my palms are a lot pinker and darker than the back of my hand, and yeah, you're never going to get an exact match, but most people don't want an exact match to their skin tone, they just want something that complements their skin tone. But you can see you just keep adding small amounts of color until you're happy with the tone of what you've got going. Now that is looking really quite close to my skin tone, but I want to add the smallest, and I mean smallest, amount of blue. Now adding the blue in is going to mute down the other colors and make it a tiny bit more muted. Take the silicone tool and I'm just going to make sure that it is all mixed together. That is looking really cool. It's looking very close to what I want, but I think I do want a tiny bit more yellow. I still feel like it's too pink. Okay, I think I have found my perfect nude. So it had a lot more yellow in than I thought. It's maybe looking a slight bit light, but I think that's quite close. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm horribly off with this nude color, or do you think that this is a good color choice? I'm going to take my gel brush and I'm going to apply that color to this finger here. I've already got on a peel off base coat. I don't know about you, but whenever I apply gel polish with a gel brush and not like the polish bottle brush, it always goes on a lot more patchy. Don't judge the opacity based on this application. I will do a couple of coats of this and hopefully that will become opaque. I'm just going to do a third thin layer just because, like I said, my application with a gel brush of colour is not as good as with the polish bottle brush. You do want to be careful when you're mixing your colour that you're not incorporating too many bubbles. It is good to use a silicone tool to smush all the product around and it kind of pops some of the bubbles rather than the stirring method, which can create little micro bubbles in the gel. You do also need to be careful about getting foreign particles in the gel. I often get cat hair in there or other bits of glitter from other sets. Also a huge thing to keep an eye out for. Okay, so just ignoring the terrible application on that, I think that goes quite nice, although it is maybe a little bit too light. It's hard to tell because my skin is a little bit darker around my cuticle area. Let me zoom out, see if it looks better over a further distance. It is a nice light nude, but maybe a little bit too light. It doesn't look as light in person as it does on camera. Anyway, so now I'm going to try and make a few darker shades of nude. I'm going to keep with my original nude colour that I've made, and I'm going to take a little bit of black gel, and obviously this is black, so when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. Like the tiniest of bits. Something you do need to be aware of is the undertone of your black, because generally blacks have either, like this one, I don't know if you can see, kind of got a greeny tone to it. Some will have a red undertone and that can affect the color of your skin tone gel. So just be aware of that and be prepared to add other colors to combat that. Don't know if you can tell, that's already a little bit darker and it's a little bit more olive toned because, like I said, my black has a green undertone to it. So I want it much darker than this. So I am going to add some more black in, but I'm also going to add a little bit of red just to counteract the fact that my black has a green undertone. I don't want to add too much black because remember, you can always add more, but it's harder to take it away. And just a tiny bit of the red because, as we saw before, the red is quite potent. You will get to know your gel polishes and then you'll know how many drops you need to add to get your base nude and then how much black or white you need. I guess my red wasn't as potent as I thought. You know, I can now see I have a grey. This is actually a really nice colour, but it's not the nude that I'm looking for. Just keep adding colours until you are happy with the tone that you have. Remembering, of course, every single person has different undertones. Although there's generally a cool undertone, warm undertone, and neutral undertone. Everyone has varying degrees of those. So finding, like I said before, finding a nude that is perfect for everyone is difficult, although there are some universal nudes that look good on most. But for example, a dark nude on me would be a light nude on someone else. So you can't have just, I've got a light nude, a dark nude, and that's it. I haven't made custom skin tones in a long while, if you can't tell by the fact this is taking me far longer than it should. I'm getting there, still a bit pink. The more you practice, the better that you get at it. This is a really good option to add, to offer to brides if they want to get a custom set for their wedding day. And what better day than to have a colour that is custom made for you. I think we're almost there. I think I want it to be just a little bit warmer. This would go a lot faster if I wasn't using a pastel yellow as well, because I think this is lightening up my colour. If you've got any recommendations for a perfect primary yellow colour, let me know. I like that colour. We're going to apply that to my next nail. Do a couple of coats. Sorry if this quality is not the best. It's been a while since I've filmed, so I need to get used to my setup again. This one is more of a like mauvey, dusty, whatever you call it, pink. I would still count it as a nude, especially once we've got a few coats on. Do you like this colour? Once you've had an experiment with mixing custom skin tones or even just custom colours in general, you can keep like a little notebook of like recipes, I guess you'd call them, and say, you know, 3 drops white, 1 drop red, 2 drops yellow, or however you like it. Obviously, every time you mix a custom colour, it is going to be slightly different because you can't be super accurate with your drop measurements. But you can kind of give yourself a hint of how it's going to go. Or if you do it enough, you'll just commit that to your memory of what is needed to make the custom colour. I will of course say it is much easier to just use a nude that is pre-made in a bottle, but like I said, sometimes you can't find the right colour, or you just don't have enough colours for all of the clients that you might have with different skin tones. I haven't found my perfect nude in a bottle, although I'm really liking this colour we've made in the middle. So if anyone knows a colour match for this colour here, please leave that in the comments because that is something I want to buy. So I think actually that second colour maybe matches my skin tone a little bit better. It's a little bit more neutral. I'm not sure. Maybe I would need somewhere in between to be a true nude for my skin tone, but I'd happily wear both of those. But I am leaning more towards liking this middle finger. So I think now I will try and make a deeper nude, and then maybe we'll make a super deep nude. I say super deep. Anything past this is super deep on me, but a very deep nude. Let's see what I can make. I'm gonna add in all of this black that I have on here. Hopefully that's not too much. Now don't worry, I know this is making it very ashy, but we will combat that. Do not panic. I think I want more black. Only because I know that my yellow is going to lighten up the colour a little bit. So I want to make it maybe a bit darker than I want the end colour to be. Now, if you were doing these for a client, you may want to charge extra for a custom color, just because it does take extra time, but that's up to you. That depends, because if they want a custom color because they're just really picky and they don't like any of your range, then that's one thing and maybe you can charge for them extra. But if you're making a custom color because you have a small range, then maybe you don't charge for a custom color. But that's a personal choice. I'm not going to tell you either way whether you should charge or you shouldn't. It really just depends on how you feel about it. So that's a very grey nude, which is not a nude, I guess. I guess it's a neutral. Still a really nice colour, but I want to warm that up. So I'm going to do a tiny bit of red and a lot of the yellow. Oh, my silicone tool is falling out of the hole. I need to get another one of these. Once you get the hang of your colours, this will be a lot quicker. I'm realising that my yellow, because it is pastel, I need to use a lot more of it than I think I would. Gonna add a bit more red. This would be so much better if I had a yellow that wasn't pastel. I might actually do a drop of my neon yellow and hope that that doesn't ruin the whole thing. God, that's bright. But if I remember correctly, this is quite a sheer colour, so let's hope that that doesn't affect it too much. Okay, now it's kind of gone green, but that's okay. I can come back from that. It's quite a nice olivey colour. Quite nice. I don't dislike that colour. Still probably a bit too grey though. Highly recommend, if you're going to do this, get a true yellow colour, not a pastel yellow and not a neon yellow. Oh, do you see what happened? Do you see what happened? Let's try this. It's definitely deeper, and I think slightly different shade also. A slightly different undertone, should I say. Alright, so my third finger, we are going to use this colour. Ooh, I like that. I'd say this was a slightly more cool toned brown neutral. Still definitely skin tone. Quite cool toned. I did use a fair bit of the neon in this, which is I guess more of a greeny yellow, but I'm not angry at it. Wait, that's not the saying. I'm not mad at it, right? That's what they say. This one is also not as patchy as the other ones. I'm wondering if it's because it's got a lower ratio of white, because the white that I used can be quite streaky to apply. I'm wondering if that's why this one is actually applying much nicer. I like that colour. It is a little bit bubbly just because, as you saw, my silicone tool kind of malfunctioned at the end there, so I had to finish mixing with my brush, which does incorporate more air into it, but as this is just for an experiment, I'm not really that bothered. Alright, so because these two are quite cool toned, this one's a little bit more warm. I think the last one I'm going to try a deep warm nude. And because I'm having issues with my yellow, I'm actually going to grab this orange colour. I'm going to use that along with black to deepen this and warm it up. Orange is of course made by using red and yellow. So using an orange polish, I'm just skipping out on having to add a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow. But obviously the orange is only one tone, so if I need to add more yellow on its own or more red on its own, then I can do that. I don't know if you can tell, but the brush certainly does not mix as well as the silicone tool does, but it still does get the job done. I want to go really quite deep just to show you that you can get deeper skin tones mixing it yourself. You could of course get some empty bottles and fill it up with your custom nudes, but again, that is a viable option if you're just doing it for yourself. But if you're doing it for clients, unless you've got a client that consistently wants the custom nude, you would end up with just so many bottles of custom nude that you might as well just buy them. It's getting nice and deep. I think we could still go deeper, but let me just try warm it up a bit first. You could of course not have the white if you're doing a deeper skin tone, but I feel like having the white helps to make the colour more opaque. I don't know, maybe I'm imagining that. But you do need to be careful because obviously black and white make grey, so you want to make sure that you are adding the right colour gel polishes to your mixture to make sure that it's either warm toned or cool toned, because you do not want to have the wrong undertone. All undertones are perfectly fine options. It's just making sure that you've got the right one for what you or your client wants, because if your client wants a warm nude and you give them a cool tone nude, then that's not going to be good. I feel like we could push this darker just to really show you how deep and dark you can go. I think a lot of times the darker nudes, they just really don't go dark enough, which is unfortunate because there are plenty of darker skinned ladies that want a nude that is similar to their skin tone, and they shouldn't have to settle for like an ashy brown or a black just because that's the only dark option. Now this is gonna look really, really dark on me because like I said, I am very pale, but you could go even darker than this. Just keep adding your black and then adding your undertone colors. Or even if you know you are going to go for a really deep dark color, start with the black and then add your colors from there. Rather than, because I started off with the light color because I have light skin, I've just been adding black and my undertone, but you could start with black, add your undertones, and then add in a little bit of white to lighten it to the desired level of colour. I think I'm going to stop there just because I guess I could keep going. I might make it a little bit warmer. This is almost like I'd say at the moment it's like a dark milk chocolate colour. It's not dark chocolate colour, but it's not milk chocolate colour. But you could definitely go a lot darker. Like I said, if you really want to get to the darkest end of the spectrum, then you'd want to start with the black and then add in your reds, yellows, oranges to warm it up, or however you want to treat it, and then maybe just add in a little bit of white to bring it to the desired skin tone. Yes, I like that. It's got more warmth to it. There's just so many different options. Like you can see as I'm mixing this, I hope you can see that I've gone through like millions of different maybe not millions, but multiple different skin tones to get to the color that I want. And it just shows, you know, you can stop at any point. You can keep going forever and keep mixing. You can even see on here the different skin tones that are in this palette. You've got like a cooler toned dark nude on the edge there, and then you've got my pinky, more brown toned. The options are endless with gel polish, and because gel polish doesn't dry until you put it into the light, you've got so much time to work with it, and you really can create the custom color. Like I have said before, obviously this does take extra time, and it's maybe not something that you would do for every client or for every set of nails that you do on yourself. But for that special occasion when you really want a specific nude or even just a specific color in general, so you've got an outfit and you really, really want to match that color, it's nice to have that option to just sit and mix and make the perfect color for your manicure. Just make sure that you keep any of your polish mixture away from your UV light, because the last thing you want is for that to cure, because then you can't use it. Let's do another couple of coats of that, then we're going to top coat, and that might give you my final thoughts and a little update on me. So there we have my 4 custom nude gel polish colours, all made using the same colours, except on this one I added the orange in, but you could still make this colour using those other shades. I just was getting impatient. So I guess reiterate, you can make any colour, not just nudes, but any colour of the rainbow if you have your primary red, blue, green, and then a black and white. So if you are starting out, those are really good colours to start off with, and then you can choose some fashion or other colours to complement them. But it is a really good option to create custom colours when you are starting out, so that you don't have to buy a million gel colours. It's also a great option if you only do your own nails, because then again, you don't have to have a million shades of pink. You can just create a custom pink to make the manicure that you want for that week, so that you don't have to keep having the exact same pink every time that you do your nails. Anyway, I think that is all for this video. If you want to see one where I mix some maybe more exciting colours, although I think nudes are pretty exciting. Also, let me know which nude you like best. I really do like this middle nude. I think it is actually my best nude of the ones that I made. Although these are all, you know, this is a nice light nude, these two are nice darker nudes. Let me know if you know where I can find a colour like this one, a nice opaque nude. If you have been subscribed for a while, you may have noticed that I haven't uploaded in a little while. I am still here, I just haven't done my nails in a while, and I am actually currently waiting on a delivery from Madam Glam. I'm finally signed up to the VIP program, but obviously with the current situation in the world, postage is experiencing a delay, at least in my country. It seems like my packages get to my country and then they just come to a complete halt. But yeah, so I was putting off making a video until that package arrived, but unfortunately it still hasn't arrived, so I thought I'll just make a video in between and then I can make a video when the package arrives. Fingers crossed it does arrive, because that's going to be very upsetting if it doesn't arrive. Yeah, so don't worry, I am still making videos. I just can't promise when the next one will be. I do try and aim for weekly videos, but you may have seen it's been at least a month, if not 2, since I last uploaded. So my apologies if you are waiting on a video. I will upload again in the future. Probably the next video will be a Madam Glam one if that arrives. If not, I will figure out something else to post. If you've got any suggestions for videos that you'd like to see from me, please let me know. Also, we are very close to getting 8,000 subscribers. We may even have reached there by the time I've edited this video. So thank you to everyone that has subscribed and stayed subscribed, because I know I have not been consistent in my uploads. So thank you for sticking around. I know that there are plenty of people that comment on my videos and I recognize your names from years back. So thank you for the support and the continued support, even through my inconsistency. And even though I'm not uploading, I do still read all comments that are posted on my old videos, and I'm happy to help anyone that has any questions. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or alternatively, that sounds so formal, or you can also follow me on Instagram. I have a personal Instagram and a male Instagram, and you can catch me on there. Although, to be honest, I'm not very active at posting on there either, but I do check that pretty much daily, so you can comment on there as well and I will get that. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully I can edit it down to less than an hour and 15 as it is right now. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and thank you for sticking around. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.